This video is just a quick preview of one of over 200 step-by-step percussion lessons included in our Conga Chops membership. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and head over to congachops.com to start your free 7-day trial and check out everything we've got on the site.
Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to expand on some of the concepts pertaining to language-based phrases that we covered in Lesson 8 of the Bongos 101 course. Before we get into learning some new phrases, I want us to explore the concept of how these phrases fit in respect to the clave. If you have any doubts concerning clave basics, the different types of claves, or how to count and feel the clave, please take a second to watch Lesson 8 from the Conga Fundamentals course before you move on. All of the language-based phrases we covered in the last course were played in the 2-3 direction of the clave, with the phrases being played on the 2 side, the side of the clave with only 2 notes. Generally speaking, all of the phrases from that lesson can be played on the 3 side of the clave as well, the side of the clave that has 3 notes. All we have to do is make sure that the 2-bar lock we're using as a foundation is flowing in the same direction as the clave. Now here's what we mean by that. Let's use the third language-based phrase from Bongos 101 Lesson 8 as an example. Here's what it looks like in 2-3 clave. We're playing our 2-bar lock in the 2-3 direction for the first 2 bars, then playing our 1-bar phrase on the 2 side of the clave, and jumping back into the second bar of our lock, which coincides with the 3 side of the clave. So let's hear what that sounds like, and feel free to clap the clave as you listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we want to play that same phrase on the 3 side of the clave, all we have to do is insert it into the 3 side of our 2-bar lock, which looks something like this. In this example, we'll play our lock starting in the 3-2 direction, followed by a phrase in the 3rd bar, which coincides with the 3 side of the clave. And to be certain that this feels in clave, we're going to make sure that we're using the accents from the 3 side of our lock in the 3rd bar, and finish off the phrase with the 2 side of our lock. Let's hear what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the main thing to take away from these examples is that the clave is constantly flowing in one direction, and our 2-bar lock should always flow in that same direction. Our phrases can be inserted on either side of the clave, the 2 side or the 3 side, regardless of the direction we're flowing in. Now, although we can technically play all of the phrases we've learned so far on either side of the clave, it's very important to have a few things in mind when doing so. First off, since we're always using a 2-bar lock as the foundation of these phrases, we have to make sure that we're aware of which side of the clave we're on when we go to insert the phrase. Once we're playing the phrase, we'll need to adjust any accents so that they fit the respective side of the lock. We also have to make sure that the bar that comes after our phrase is still flowing in the correct direction. This is especially tricky when we're dealing with shorter phrases that only take up a couple of beats in the bar, like the one we just worked on. So if we take a second to analyze the phrase as we just played it on the 2 side of the clave, we can see that our phrase happens in the first 2 beats, and the last 2 beats in the bar are exactly the same as the 2 side of our lock. When we analyze the phrase as it's being played on the 3 side, we can see that our phrase happens in the first 2 beats, and the last 2 beats in the bar are exactly the same as the 3 side of our lock. Now that we have some of these things in mind, listen to that last example one more time. This time we're going to play our lock in the 2-3 direction, with our phrase on the 2 side during the first 4 bars. Then we'll play our phrase on the 3 side in the following 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4.